Alright, in our last video, we ran into an issue where, because now these values you are having here is from point 1 to point 2. We have 7 points here. Point 1 to point 2, point 2 to point 3, point 3 to point 4, point 4 to point 5, point 5 to point 6, point 6 to point 7, and point 7 back to point 1. Now, in our table here, which the user will see, because this particular side, the user will not see it, I will hide it and log it. So in this particular place now, after copying to this particular point, there's nowhere where it shows from the last point back to point 1. You understand? So that's what we are trying to fix here. So I'm going to put a point here, a new column, a new row under. Let's try and do it. Right, we have one. So I'm going to make I'll try to put a concatenation formula where whatever the last point is, it will be that from the last point to back to 1. Understand? So I'm going to use the concatenation formula here. The formula is equals to put our semicolon or dash point, because I want it to show point, use space, then we use and shift 7, and since we already have our column that shows the number of valid cells, that is x2, and to 1, let's press enter. So at this point now we have 0.7 to 1 if we have 7 points. If I'm to remove this, it will now become 0.6 to 1. If I'm to remove this, it will become 0.5 to 1, because we have 5 points here to 1. So it will always be our last point to back to 1. So let me put that is 0.7 to 1. Alright, so we have fixed that. The same thing will happen here. This is our bearing table. Let me just copy it now so that we can fix it. So another time we should to be faster and better for us. Alright, so we'll do the same thing here. Paste it. Change here to bearings. So it will always be from bearings, the last point, to bearings 1, and it will fill in this particular aspect. Alright, it's time to now copy. Now, observe that everything here is from this particular last one is always the last point, that is from the last point back to 1. So when we are copying everything from this table back to here, we'll make sure we ignore the last value. Right, so it's a formula I did for that, which you can pause the video to see the formula. This is the formula I put here, paste. Alright, I have to replace this with starting at the value, press enter. Alright, so I drag it down. I see that I have 7 points. It's 0.6 to 0.7. I'm having 30.0. Remember, in this particular place, this is the where it stopped. This particular one is from that last point to back to point 1. Alright, so I'll now come and fill in that value here. I'm going to use the index function to do that. So I use index function. So you can see from my 0.7 to 0.1 now, it's 16 points. This. So if I'm to remove, let's say I remove these 3, you can see I have 0.1 to 2, 2 to 3, 4 to 3 to 4, 3 to 4, then 4 to 1, 8 to 1. So you can see it's working very well. Let me go down. So we have been able to solve a particular problem of the returning value in Excel. So let me fix my perimeter so it can be showing well when you insert your value. So I come here, insert the formula I created, press enter. So you can see for these values here, we have this as our perimeter. We have this as the bearings, as the distances. Sorry, distances. Right. So if you add everything here, it will give you this value. I just make just make a sum everything enter. Alright, there's no issue here. It's just misunderstanding. Now remember that when you're doing perimeter, you have to calculate from point 1 to point 2, and from the last from let's in this example now, from point 1 to point 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, then 7 back to 1. And when I was adding, I added only this particular place. I know add the return value. So we're going to fix that correction here and add everything. Yes, exactly. It's giving us our value to see. Alright, so this is just for a test. I did it. So if I remove everything here, you can see this is my perimeter, this is my area, this is my, remember we have 3 points, point 1 to point 2, point 2 to point 3, and point 3 back to point 1, point 1 to point 2, point 2 to point 3, point 3 back to point 1. So these are our distances, these are our perimeter. So we're going to confirm it and we'll go it. So for let us change this particular one to 3 decimal place. We go to format cells, number, 3 decimal place. Okay. Alright. So let's confirm from AutoCAD. Remember we have our AutoCAD file of yesterday. It's still active. Let's find the perimeter of that same point. So I type in area. Click in here. Right, so we have our area to be 4.85, 498.587, and we have our perimeter as 91.737. So it's correct. So as time goes on, you can bring in your coordinates for us to test. I think I'll do that at the ending of when I finish everything. So it's a bit more beautiful. Now, the beauty is that in this particular area, what you are seeing here is supposed to be plotted in this particular area here. Alright, so we are done for area and length. We're now going to bearings. So that once you put your coordinates to give you your distances, to give you your bearings, and plot to work for you. So thank you very much. All the formulas are on the work. You can test it, you can use it to bring out your own tools and the rest. Our next, after the entire program, we're going to use Python to do the same thing. Alright, so see you tomorrow for the bearings, formulas, and for uploading. Thank you.